الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله الأكرم الذي خلق الإنسان وكرم وعلمه من البيان ما لم يعلم، فسبحان الذي لا يحصى امتنانه باللسان ولا بالقلم. نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له رب الأرباب ومسبب الأسباب، ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمدًا عبد الله ورسوله، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة، فجزاه الله عنا وعن كل المسلمين خيرا. اللهم فصل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد، رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربي زدني علما والحقني بالصالحين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. My dear respected elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, a day has gone down in the books of history which practically every human being on this earth is unaware of. And frankly speaking, almost everyone couldn't care less about it, except a few people. The unknown time and location in discussion is when an unknown person came up with an idea that Rio de Janeiro should be a city that should host the Olympics. That Brazil should be the first nation in the continent to host the Olympic Games. Now, I wasn't there, nor were you. We don't know when it transpired, where it transpired, and who sprouted the thought. But I'm confident that that suggestion resulted in many mixed emotions and a flood of questions. Seriously? Rio? Here? How? Where? When? Many questions. How can it be possible for us to stand on a global stage and do what you're asking to do? It's a dream, it's a fantasy. Why so? For all the odds are against it. Look at us. Look at our streets. Look at the level of poverty. Look at the problems we face here with violence and drugs and so on and so forth. How do you expect for us to do this? Pause. A day has been recorded in a book which holds the highest account of credibility when the master made a statement that one and all should know about and acknowledge its importance. Again, in this scenario, the time is unknown, but the one who made the statement isn't. Today I'm going to give you two accounts side by side. I want you to follow along with me. This historical account is written in the Holy Quran in Surah number 2, verse number 30, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressed His near and dear creation, i.e. the angels, and He said, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. O my angels, verily I am going to make on this earth my Khalifa. Do we understand why this earth is the central point of all creation? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this earth, it was water. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looked at that water with His gaze, and up from it the land began to form. And this land spread out throughout the world, but it was unstable, it was shaky. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put down the pegs, i.e. the mountains. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stabilized this earth. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decorated it and beautified it and facilitated within it the creation in 4 days. In 4 of the 6 days of the creation of the entire universe, 4 days, as Allah Himself states in the Holy Quran, fi arba'ati ayyam, 4 days. Now the angels, they did respond to that, but not in ridicule or doubt, but just in a sense of concern. قالوا, they said, أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَن يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا? Are you going to place in it those who cause chaos? وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاء, and they'll shed blood? Try to find the correlation here. I hope you're with me. For they understood in their capacity, وَنَحْنُ نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ, we hymn your praises, وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ, and we exalt your greatness. Allah said, you don't know what I know. إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, I know something that you don't know. So in the humankind, speculation it's like our nature. Where on the side of the angels, it was a sheer concern. How is this going to happen? Let's move on. Let's go back to where we paused. This person who brought up this opinion or this thought, he was a determined soul. And his determination led to a formal request being submitted to the IOC 9 years in advance of an announcement that was made 7 years prior to the fixed date, granting the city, granting the country, granting the continent, granting that individual the wish that they had, that we should host the Olympics. Think about this, my dear friends. How many hurdles did he have to jump? How many hurdles did they have to jump? How many barriers did they have to break? How many minds and hearts did they have to change amid a recession that came closing in on the due time for us to perform? And also not to forget the out of control of men matters such as Zika virus. But they made all human effort possible. Pause again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, despite the concern of the angels, continued forth with His plan. And remember, Allah doesn't need a plan. For Allah, what is it? Kun fayakun. He says and it happens. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to show us. He wants to explain to us as His creation how determination and how consistency and how effort will truly bear fruits of goodness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then collected earth, clay, samples from this entire world, different colors, different parts. It is written in the books, the earth complained, you made me and then you took from me. Allah said, don't worry, I'll return it to you. That is why the verses of the Holy Quran, مِنْهَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ وَفِيهَا نُعِيدُكُمْ. What we created you from, you're going to go right back to it. The trust will be given back to the earth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then molded this clay figure, which is now a human being in the making. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Adam alayhi salam according to his divine decision. Yes, he was the envy of Iblis. And yes, he gained the acceptance of all the angels. فَسَجَدُوا. They prostrated, إِلَّا Iblis. He didn't want to. And in return, that envy resulted in Adam alayhi salam and his wife being tricked, sent down to this earth, separated but to later be united. Now the time has come for the progeny of the human race to begin. So here too we see it wasn't a smooth path. Let's go back to Rio de Janeiro. Despite exhausting $5 billion and more, breaking the bank before they had anything credible to show to the world, no doubt they were not ready. They weren't ready. They had a lot of work hanging in the balance. Yes, they had to sweep so much under the rug. They had to give a surety to the world. No, we got everything in control. The residents and the zika and the food and the accommodation and the transportation, despite all the protests, we got it in control. But now it's time. Everything is irrelevant now. For execution on a dream made years ago will determine their destiny. How good did you execute on that dream? So the venue is built in the location that was allocated for it, and the event is now set. The time is here. But the question is, who will come? Who will come? Well, in that industry, in that business, it all goes down to ticket sales. The ticket sales show the promise of how many will attend. It's like an RSVP. Let's go back now to Adam alayhi salam. Despite the progeny starting off with difficulties. Forget the story now of Adam alayhi salam and his wife. They're down here, they're together, the progeny begins. But there is a black dot in the history which Allah records in the Holy Quran. وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ بَنَيْ آدَمَ بِالْحَقِّ إِذْ قَرَّبَا قُرْبَانًا فَتُقُبِّلَ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا وَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ. A lengthy story when two brothers became envious of one became envious of the other, and he challenged him. He tried to pull back, but the other brother was adamant that no, I should get what I want. Ultimately, what happened? What happened? He killed his brother. The progeny has just begun, but a black dot appears in our history, tainting what humanity was supposed to show, and playing into the concerns of the angels, which was truly legitimate. Hence, for the sake of ensuring that the minds of humanity are set and continue to be fixated upon the greater picture, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then commanded a father and a son to go, build a house, build my house, build the venue, where humanity will realize what is their purpose on this earth, what are the goals that they have to achieve on this earth. For the human race would not be defined by a collective picture, but by each individual's effort and what they bring to the table for the betterment of the masses. So when we go to Surah Baqarah, verse number 125 and 127, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَحِدْنَا إِلَىٰ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْمَاعِيلَ أَن طَهِّرَا بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْعَاكِفِينَ وَالرُّكَّعِ السُّجُودِ وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ وَإِسْمَاعِيلَ رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا. Allah, you've commanded me to make a house. Why the house? Why the location? What's the significance? Doesn't make sense to me. But Allah is saying, you don't see the bigger picture. Hence, begin by saying, رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا. Oh Allah, accept it from me. So they did. Now once the house was built, think about this. A father and a son in the middle of a desert, in a barren valley. There's no food, there's no fruits, there's no vegetation, there's no water. And they walk approximately 2 kilometers to what was known at one time as Jabal Kaaba. And they break the stones brick by brick. And then they bring it back. And then they place it to build this house. Now it's complete. Who's gonna come? There's no tickets to be sold here. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then says in the Holy Quran in Surah number 22, verse number 27, وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَابِرٍ يَأْتِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍّ عَمِيقٍ. O Ibrahim, do your job. I will do my job. Lessons are being brought forth, my brothers and sisters. O humanity, do your job. If every one of us does our job, Allah will do His job. وَأَذِّن, go and make a call. And I promise you, they'll come to you walking. They'll come to you on camel. They'll come to you through boats. They'll come to you by bike. A man just biked to the Hajj. They will come to you by boats. They will come to you by planes. They'll come to you by A380s and Boeing 747. However they come by train, they will come to you. Go back to Rio de Janeiro. So the time is here, and 10,500 athletes from 206 countries arrive in one of 4 venues to compete for 4,924 medals across 28 sports, all to be done within the span of 17 days alone. It is the moment for each individual athlete to exhibit their independent effort and sacrifice that reflects their greatness and allows reflection of goodness to their nation that they represent. Usain Bolt's goodness reflects the greatness of his country, Jamaica. America's athletes, their greatness reflects the greatness of the nation as a whole. So they came. They came along with their families and fans and friends. And through various modes of transportation, they all came for one cause. And that was to support their athletes, to support their country, and most of all, be entertained. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He told Ibrahim alayhi salam to make the call, it was not because the house was complete. It was because the goals that wanted to be accomplished through that house were defined. What were those goals? Well, let's look at those goals that Allah wants every human being throughout the course of history till the end of times to accomplish these goals. However they come, whenever they come, how many come. You have 5 days to do this. For example, in again Surah Baqarah, verse number 124 onwards, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبُّهُ بِكَلِمَاتٍ فَأَتَمَّهُنْ. You will be tested, you need to complete the test. If you go into an exam and you check off maybe 7 of the questions, and they're correct, but you leave 3, those 3 will taint the overall picture. Allah tested Ibrahim, he succeeded. What did Allah say in return? إِنِّي جَاعِلُكَ لِلنَّاسِ إِمَامًا. I want you to be the leader of humanity. لِلنَّاسِ, humanity. قَالَ وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِي. What about my progeny? Here we are learning that the defined goal is complete submission will give you a role of leadership in your world, in your community, and it will give it to you with continuity. People will take it from you and continue on. When Ibrahim a.s. said ذُرِّيَّتِي, he meant from the progeny of Ishaq and the progeny of Ismail alayhi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then says, number 2, وَإِذْ جَعَلْنَا الْبَيْتَ مَثَابَةً لِلنَّاسِ وَأَمْنًا. This venue, this place will be a source of peace and it will be a stable ground. You will never find it to be a problem for you. Number 3, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّ اجْعَلْ هَذَا بَلَدًا آمِنًا وَارْزُقْ أَهْلَهُ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ مَنْ آمَنَ مِنْهُمْ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. It's a barren valley. Where is the food going to come from? Where is the money going to come from? Where is the interest going to be sparked? It was a foundation of the dua. Oh Allah, you bless them with fruits, varieties, those who bring faith on you in the final day. And I swear by Allah, you go to Makkah Mukarramah, there isn't a food, there isn't a chocolate bar, there isn't a cereal from the world, but you will find it there, subhanallah. There isn't a fruit drink or a meal, regardless of the tradition or the culture, you will find it there. This is the foundation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now calling people towards. He wants to enrich you. He wants you to go home with gold medals. He wants you to be proud of your accomplishments and the accomplishments of your nation. رَبَّنَا وَجَعَلْنَا مُسْلِمَيْنِ لَكَ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِنَا أُمَّةً مُسْلِمَةً لَكَ وَأَرِنَا مَنَاسِكَنَا وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا. Oh Allah, we want to go for gold, and we want our nation to go for gold. Make my son and I submissive to you, and create from our progeny an ummah, a nation that will submit to you. And lastly, when the Olympics close its doors and the curtain falls down, after 4 years there's going to be another Olympics. Who will be the host of the next Olympics? To make sure they take it to the next level up. رَبَّنَا وَبَعَثْ فِيهِمْ رَسُولًا مِّنْهُمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِكَ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. Oh Allah, ensure what we do today, a next prophet comes and he takes this, he takes the venue, he takes the people, he takes the opportunity to the next level. And who was that? Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And who were they? The ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For we know the Olympics throughout the centuries, it will change hands. Different hosts will come. In a similar fashion, the world will continue to come to Makkah Mukarramah. The hands of who hosted them changed throughout the history of time. But they will continue to come for what reason? As Allah said in the Holy Quran, لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ. That they witness with their eyes what bounties and blessings are there from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Henceforth, my dear brothers and sisters, the games played out, and they were hailed a success. As a unit, all courtesy of the individual contributions that came from across the spectrum. Each individual, the Olympics shined because they wanted the Olympics itself to shine. Everyone put their effort in selflessly, not selfishly. Take for an example, the sanitation worker who worked 14-hour shifts during the Olympics to ensure that the toilets were clean for the guests and for the athletes. Doesn't matter how many hours of sleep and exercise and food and transportation he put into coming to job and making sure his job was good. It was that moment when he saw the pipe about to break in the bathroom, which could have flooded the venue, that he got on his knees and he fixed it. That was his moment to shine. That was the Olympics' moment to shine. Take for example Usain Bolt, a 9-time gold medal athlete. Through the span of 12 years and 3 Olympics. Forget how many hours in the wee morning hours he trained, and how many nights he sat down watching video and trying to understand himself. Those are irrelevant. What is relevant was the combined seconds that he put displaying that he was worthy for gold in all 9 of those events, the 100 meters times 3, the 200 meters times 3, and the 4x100 times 3. Do you know how much time that was in total? 117 seconds. 12 years, 3 Olympics, 3 different venues, 9 different competitions, and 117 seconds. So the correlation here is, my dear friends, the time for Hajj is near. We can't hail it a success. Because it is still yet to occur. Yes, it is 5 days and nights wherein Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selected delegation from across the country and across the world will make their way to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, representing themselves, representing their family, representing their community, representing the entire ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's not going to go down to how many miles you traveled or where you lived or how many steps you made it to the haram. Rather, it will go down to those few seconds that will define our destiny. That are we truly a ummah or are we truly divided? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains to us, think about your total life, 60 to 70 years of life. According to the Holy Quran in Surah number 70 verse number 4, تَعْرُجُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالْرُوحِ إِلَيْهِ فِي يَوْمٍ كَانَ مِقْدَارُهُ 50,000 سَنَةً. Tomorrow's world will be equivalent to 50,000 years. You calculate your life according to that time, you're like 2 minutes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us ability to understand what our deen is, what it entails, what these practices mean to us, and allow the entire ummah to benefit totally from them. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. So my dear brothers and sisters, what I just laid out to you, it was kind of complex, but I put you a historical account of something which just happened in 5 steps, and that was Rio de Janeiro. And I aligned with that 5 steps of a historical account, which means a lot to you and I, and that's when Allah told His angels He was going to make you and I and our families. We saw on both sides great difficulties and great hurdles, but we saw that how those hurdles can be overcome. And that is through each individual becoming selfless. In our world today, it's all about me, myself, and I. How much I could bring in, how much I can be recognized, it's all about the I factor. I always say, Hajj is our annual report card. How is the ummah doing? We will find out in Hajj. There are 10 marks for each of the questions. And those questions are based upon your effort, your sacrifice, your unity, your love, your connection with your master, your cooperation with one another, your patience, your reverence of the holy sites, your selflessness, and last but not least, respect. If the ummah goes there and shows hatred, animosity, racism, that goes to show we all are a failure. How will that time come that we see the ummah once again on the dream of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a ummah that shows brotherhood and sisterhood without boundaries, without criterions, without color, creed, social status. We just love one another for Allah. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking His servants there. That's why we should pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the 11th hour, despite our shortcomings, despite our weaknesses, despite our forgetfulness, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to deliver. And may Allah allow us to deliver in a fashion which is befitting to the deen, which is conducive to the area and the time and the moment, and that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We send great salutations upon His Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, through whom we understood not Islam, not Quran, not Sharia, not deen, but we understood from him what it means to be a human being. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma fasalli wa sallim wa barik ala sayyidina Muhammad abdika wa rasulika an-nabiy al-ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallama tasliman kathiran kathira. Allahumma alif bayna qulubina wa aslih dhata baynina wahdina subul as-salam wa jannibna al-fawahisha ma ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في ديننا ودنيانا وآخرتنا. نسألك الله من الخير كله عاجله وآجله ونعوذ بك الله من الشر كله عاجله وآجله. اللهم اغفر للحاج ولمن استغفر له الحاج. اللهم اجعل حجهم حجا مبرورا وعملا مقبولا وسعيا مشكورا وتجارة لن تبور. آمين يا رب العالمين، آمين يا رب العالمين، آمين يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters, a few quick announcements. Bakhtiar